Hey friends, welcome to Stacking Pennies. It is Prime Week leading into the Coke 600. NASCAR on Prime coming up this week. So we're going to talk to Thursday Night Football's one and only Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to join the show. Give me a couple tips on how to be a TV guy, as well as breakdown. Had a lot of stuff going on this week. Ryan Blaney's pickleball tournament, ran a late model, ran a modified, and Christopher Bell wins $1 million. All that and more on Stacking Pennies. Let's go.
Stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
It tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory.
We're just out here stacking pennies.
All right, we're in it. Hey, friends. Corey LaJoy alongside Ryan Flores here. We had a busy week, buddy.
Oh, it was a busy week, but it didn't feel that bad. Burned some rubber off the old wheels of the car. So that was, we were busy. I was driving up and down, back and forth to Wilkesboro, went down to Charlotte. We were in Winston-Salem.
I put some miles on the old GMC this week.
That was probably a better way than the way I said it.
Yeah, I didn't know what you're talking about.
I just really went off the path there.
So let's just go chronological. So Tuesday night, we had to have a bit better showing than we did last year because we have played pickleball now twice in our life.
Yeah.
The first time was last year, and it showed. We were bad. I was way better than you were, but
you sucked.
Collectively as a team, you
had more confidence.
What?
You had more confidence that you were better, but the stats would not say that you were better.
I would say stats would definitely show. Look at the reach on that. If you're watching on YouTube, we got some pickleball. You serve it like a 72-year-old grandmother.
My serve made it over there.
Look at that. Right back into Blaney's kitchen.
You called Sean. Hey, cut this one. Hey, there was
that
just
was game
one
point.
Time.
So let's just go. So we had to redeem ourselves, or at least stack. Our team name was Stacking Pickles, naturally. Then we got to the championship game and got absolutely throttled.
Oh, yeah, they owned a pickleball. They owned Concord Pickleball. They have like a pickleball bar they own. Like what? I would hope that
you are just staying in the kitchen too.
You're
not allowed to step in the kitchen.
I didn't go over that line.
You were literally living in the kitchen. You can't live in the kitchen.
Stop. You're just full of shit.
I'm telling you the rules of pickleball. So
okay. Listen.
We didn't score a point last year.
We sucked last year.
We went all the way to the
My
championship.
wife on the way down there said, "You guys think you'll be better this year?" I said, "There's no really way to gauge because we haven't played pickleball since last year." But I think when we both got there, we both agreed without saying, just the look, buckle down.
Yeah, we had to buckle down.
And we didn't lose a game until the last one.
Yeah.
We
didn't lose a game all day.
Ooh, sneeze button. But yeah, it was great.
I was proud of that performance.
I was proud of it. There was a Taylor Swift guitar that I was proud we didn't take home because my wife was bidding on that. I gave her my phone. You said, just run it up.
I did.
So I think it went for like $1,600.
How much can I go? I said, I don't know. Just keep going. It's just money.
I'm at $1,400. I'm like, stop. Give me the phone back. So we didn't win that. But
we go all the way. We beat Ryan Blaney. Like, they were trying to.
Knocked Ryan out.
I'm sure it chapped his ass, too.
Good.
I'm sure there's a little bit of vindication in there for
Maybe
you.
Maybe a little bit.
There's a couple of smacks in there. Like, take that.
That was fun.
So that was good. I felt good about driving home. Respectable showing in the pickleball game. So
these next 2 weeks are always super busy with people's. There's a lot of Charlotte and Wilkesboro. There's a lot of charity events, a lot of things going on. And then, why not sign up for Cars Tour Late Model Race for you, Bowman Gray for me, Modified Race for you. Let's just do all the things.
Yeah. When we did some fun content around John Chris, buddy of mine, comedian, with his face on a late model.
You got to check that out on Stacking Pennies YouTube.
Yep. It didn't get a ton of traction like I anticipated.
It'll keep going.
That's right. He's hilarious, man. So we put his face on the hood. I did a deal with Kevin Powell, group out of Winston-Salem.
Crazy
Kevin Powell. Decently nice car. I realized this, and I always knew this, but even more realization. It's like it doesn't matter what level series you go to. When you're racing against guys who do every week, you have to show up. You have to go do the tests that everybody else.
You got to race every week.
You got to race every week, right? And that group doesn't. They're a part-time team. So we get there, and we were not even in left field. We were in the parking lot outside of left field.
That's tight.
Just absolutely plowing tight. So we threw the kitchen sink at it. We thrashed. Got it. Respectable. We broke a transmission.
Broke it. It felt bad for them boys because changing the transmission, then we got to take the exhaust out, then the shifter's different. There's nothing
95 degrees laying on asphalt.
on.
Those guys are thrashing, sweating, carrying on.
They did a good job getting it fixed, though.
In between practice and qualifying, I mean, they got linkages off and trying to change this transmission. And turnaround from practice qualifying was fairly quick. And there were 3 or 4 cars going home. I think there was like 38 or 9 cars going for 36 spots.
I was nervous.
So was I. Apparently so was Dale Jr. because he calls me. Hey, man, why'd you pick up? It's supposed to be underneath that thing. Get some wrenches. Fix it. I said, they don't want me working on this thing. And I'm like, where are you at? I'm up in the booth, man. I'm looking right at you. So I like go around the tent, and he's like, like zoom in, and Dale's like, hey, I see you. I'm like, hey, man, I see you too. So we talked for a couple minutes. I'm like, these guys are thrashing on him. You only got to beat one car. I said, yeah, I'm not going to try to beat one car. Like, I want to go be competitive in this thing. So we laid down a lap, qualified 13th. Better than we've been all day.
Better than I expected.
Me too, because we weren't in the ballpark at that point. Thrash. Got it. And we were 2 laps into this thing. The leaders are crashing. And I see it happening. Like,
I'm spotting for you, so I'm like watching it happen too.
So naturally, if your eyes are up looking and you like not driving off the hood pins, you can see when guys are dooring each other and somebody sails it in, even though if it's a couple rows up, they start crashing. I start just lifting. Okay, they're going to crash. Let me make sure I don't get caught up. Next thing I know, who was it? 88? Connor Hall, maybe?
No, it was the 12 or the other 12 or the 22. It was a red and white car. That's
okay.
Are you saying that crashed in front of you?
No,
it was one of the white. It was one of the Nelson Motorsport cars that spun out. But yeah, they crashed. You lifted.
We're like 10 spots behind. Arca brake that spun me right out.
Yeah, but luckily, everybody behind you wrecked too.
And at that moment, it's like that happened 2 or 3 other times.
Well, and that's what I said to you because I was spotting. I said, buddy, just keep in mind that. And I talked to Ryan Newman about this yesterday for a little while after the modified race because the same thing happened to him in the modified race yesterday.
Dude.
And I said, man, it's tough because you're watching ahead and like
nobody else is.
You get checked up so much sooner. But I'm like, yo, you got to – I know this is going to sound dumb, but you got to get through that wreck faster because they're going to run in behind you and you're going to get wrecked even worse. And he's like, it's like Talladega and Daytona.
Yeah.
He's like, I've dealt with that to where I got to get through it. And not saying anything bad about those guys. They just don't have the experience that you have.
So I thought about this, and I said in an interview with somebody yesterday after the modified race because it was like 3 laps, somebody crashed, oil the track down. 3 laps, crash, somebody oil the track down.
Longest run was 17 laps. That stunk.
So we put on tires, tried to flip strategy. We did. We were actually in the right spot. We took rears, leading a race. One restart, we go out, lead a couple laps, re-rack it. The motor was missing, carrying on, so I was trying to keep the thing running, neutral, revving it up.
In the modified race
In a modified race, yeah. Well, rewind. I don't want to get too far ahead. So late model, thrashing. The exhaust more or less fell off. And
it didn't fall off. The door on that, same thing happened to Dale's. The exhaust goes through the door, and you were racing really hard. Made the car better, inside the top 10, got spun out like you said, guys pitted, made the car better, inside the top 10. Probably, I would say you were going to shake out 5th to 8th at the worst, based on where the guys we were racing around finished.
Yep.
But it was really tight. You kept plugging guys 3 wide. They'd get racing side by side, and you drive down there 3 wide and put them all in a bad spot and come out smelling like a rose on the other end. One time, though, you doored somebody, and the exhausts hang out of the doors. They're not under the rocker panel, and it pushed the exhaust inside the door and filled the car with carbon monoxide. Same thing happened. I was talking to Dale earlier today. He said the same thing happened to his 88 car. It fell off, too.
Today? Or last week?
In that same race. Yeah,
so
it's a common thing that happens with those if you don't run a big bezel or big tube in
so
there.
It smoked me out. I was trying to power through it till I got to the point where I couldn't breathe, and I'm like, I'm not trying to die over running 4th in a late model race.
Well, you were saying something under green, but I couldn't understand you.
I can't see.
You were like, I'm
getting smoked out.
I didn't know what you were saying, but I just go, copy.
Yeah, keep going.
Copy. And then I was like, all right, he's coming to you. He must have a problem.
So I love the fans on there that say I tried to start and park the cars to a race.
Is that what they said?
People say a lot of things on social media.
You get a lot of mean stuff said.
People are dip. So I started and parked that Cars Tour race.
Dude, I saw a great tweet.
And then what? Which one?
Joey Dinowitz shared it. It said, I'm at Wilkesboro, and I've realized there's a vast difference between the people who are at the races, enjoying the races, and the meme Twitter handles that are like the ones with the meme face that are just talking mad on the sport. Yeah. Like, there's really good people and fans at the racetrack that love to be there, and then there's the dark side of NASCAR Twitter.
Oh, they got Cheeto dust fingertips.
Who's that? Connor Daly. Shout out to him, qualifying for the 500.
Hey.
As he brought up when he came and did the 500, he's like, "Whoa,
NASCAR's
I got into the dark side of NASCAR Twitter, and it's bad."
Yeah, it's like, I don't know why people
don't let him pull you in, bro.
No, I love it. I'm to the point now.
Oh, you don't? You just jump in there?
I don't care. If you're gonna say some uneducated takes, be ready for a educated response.
Listen, if you're gonna jump into the deep side of Twitter, I'll get you some Ricky Stenhouse shorts. You can wear them, some ass kicking britches.
Yeah, he put on his ass. I love it too. He probably dusted those things off, held them up. Yes.
Well, when I said it to him last year on the podcast, I was like, "What made you pick those shorts?" And he looked at me like pissed off. Like,
they're comfortable.
He didn't laugh, and I was like, "Oh, don't punch me, bro." Hey, easy, Ricky.
It's like he bolts on like, yes, these yellow shorts are my aggression.
Yes.
So modified race, got spun out leading it, got picked up on a restart, got spun out.
Justin Bonsignor, I said to him when I saw him yesterday. You talk to him?
I did.
I said, "Did you get underneath him?" He goes, "Yeah," because that's what it looked like. It was before he even got going. Yeah. And I've learned.
If your rear tires are off the ground, you can't accelerate.
Buddy, I have gotten a starch reality check, and I know every angle and inch of where modified bumpers line up.
You said starch, like a potato. I think you're meaning staunch. There's add
starch.
a U in there. Staunch.
Nope, I'm saying starch. So I got under
like hash browns.
How Bowman Gray.
Starch. Did you starch that shirt?
I've gotten a brisk reality check. I've gotten a very good feel on how modified bumpers
line up
because Bowman Gray, you just and it's weird at Bowman Gray. You probably felt this. Someone will hit you and go on top of your bumper, and it'll feel like you got a flat. Someone will pick you up, and you feel like you broke an axle. At the stadium there, you do it in one corner, and you go down the straightaway, and you're like, "I hope I don't have a flat," and you just bury it in the next corner. You're like, "Okay, that was just somebody that got me." But I think his got underneath your bumper, picked you up, and it probably felt like you broke an axle coming to the green.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So it just wouldn't go. And then, luckily, there wasn't a ton of damage. Changed tires. We were gonna be in the top 10 there. Then the motor stopped running. So yeah.
Did it? Did you run out of fuel?
No. It was missing all day. Spark plugs, I think, got fouled. So like 3 to go. It come off 2, blah, 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 blah. Yep, there it is. 0 for 2 this week. Starting parked and modified too. So starting parked late model, starting parked a modified this weekend.
If you're going to race, you're eventually going to start it, and then you're going to have to park it at the end of it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So shout out to who won the late model race?
Landon Lewis.
Landon Lewis.
Dude, Harvick's car. Hauling ass.
Yeah. On the pole, led up pretty much every lap.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Shout out to Craig Lutz.
That was a heck of an ending. Like, I'll tell you what, that race was long. There was a lot of crashes, whatever. 3-car got absolutely throttled.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness. But the end of that race, knowing that the 46, Craig Lutz, kind of was a better long-run car. The 7 of Luke Baldwin smashed him out of the way. They finished it clean, but it was a really good finish to that race.
So we saw, unfortunately, we didn't see as much green flag racing in the modifieds as we had hoped, but we did see a lot of green flag racing in the open as well as the all-star race. You wanted to shift gears into that? We pretty much. Oh, what about how'd your Bowman Gray modified didn't go tremendous?
I was also ran this weekend, finished 10th and 6th. I played there's a twin 25s, so we didn't qualify well at all. But if you finish 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th, or 16th, they redraw. I got to 10th, and I just finished 10th playing the redraw game. They picked 8. That's how my year is going at Bowman Gray. But it was good. Good points. I think we're 3rd or 4th in points there. We'll go again this week. Come see me if you're in town for Coke 600.
What I do like seeing, the Cars Tour Garage is like the old Arca guys, old Hooters Cup guys, a lot of NASCAR guys that were like, you know what, I don't feel like going 38 weeks. I just want to kind of like hang out.
Yeah.
My car chief, JD, now works for RS Race Cars. I think he was helping out some guys. It's cool to see familiar faces in that. But those guys are not playing around. You look at like Dale Jr.'s cars, and those bodies don't look like anybody else's. The guys that go do it every week, those cars are maximized for the rules, and it's a bit of a Wild West. So that was fun.
It's good. I
think they got a good thing going over there.
Really good thing. I hope that they don't try to take an incremental step forward, because I think sometimes the problem that you see with a lot of short track series is this is good. We need more. We need to make more money. We need to get better. And it's in like
what's more look like, you think?
Well, like I think that's what hurts. That's what's hurt like Hooters Cut or some of these other series is they get to a really good spot and they try to reach for more, and they either take on more overhead or overreach, and then it ends up dying.
Costs too much. Like they need to find their
niche. Really
niche.
Great niche right now.
Well,
I don't know what their financial situation is, but it's a really great niche right now.
It's and I was thinking about how to, because I get a lot of crap on social media, clearly, but like people think that I'm just this short track guy hater when there's nobody that's run more short track stuff or invested more money into it than I have over the last 10 years relative to some other guys. And you look at the 36, 38, 40 Cup guys, they like there's only about 4 or 5 cars that are worth going to drive in that if you want to show up and run well. Legitimately, right? Unless you want to go test and you want
late
to go
model stuff. Yeah.
And those cars, people are paying $30,000 a race to go do it.
Yeah, there's only 4 or 5 A+ cars. It's just like being in a class, right? There's 4 or 5 A+ students and an A, B, B-. Right? It's okay, but you got to have some circumstances go your way where the A+ cars fall out so you can beat them.
That's right. I would love to see 4 or 5 Cup guys go do it, but like, those guys got to pay $30,000. Those guys would rather just like hang out in their bus, which I understand that. So,
well, and then you put yourself out there like you did this weekend, right? And if you do have a rough go, you almost feel like it devalues you.
Yeah, but I don't mind that.
No, I don't either. But if you're tip of the spear, right? You go there and you get beat by somebody that's trying to make a name for himself, and they're like, beat him.
Yeah,
they're like, wait, you're not seeing the full picture. But a lot of times people don't see the full picture.
No, I like that too. But like those guys are, that's you want to go. Wish we were a bit closer with our car overall, because I think that we were like a test away. We'd have just been close. Yep. Anyways, cool.
Go ahead.
Modifieds are the coolest cars of all time to drive.
Modifieds are
They're
sweet. There's a reason I go do it every week.
But then again, those were 35, 36 cars, and a lot of guys, most of them are from the Northeast that run the Wheel and Tour full time. That was a Wheel and Tour race. There's only about 7 of them that can drive a straight line.
It was tough. It was a tough race yesterday. I don't know.
Like,
I think that place is a little bit tougher than most as far as speed. But hey, look, every series has tough races at times. Hopefully they can get their arms wrapped around it. Like, I feel like maybe they wasted a platform yesterday where it looked bad, but at least the ending was good. And yeah,
I had a story that I was going to say. I didn't say it. Corey Seager went to high school with him, played baseball. Now he's like World Series MVP. Shortstop for the Texas Rangers. When I was talking to him, and he was in like AA, AAA, right when he first started, because he went like right to the pros. He's like, man, it's harder to hit pitches in AAA and AA because the pitchers don't throw what they should.
Yes.
They don't really know where to place the ball if they were doing it correctly per the data. They're a wild thing a little bit. And that's what I look when I do it. I'm like, these guys aren't doing what they should do because they just don't race around professionals that do what they should do every week. And you get doored for no reason. You get run into, and there are certain guys that are exceptional talents, right? There are exceptional talents in the car store. There are
Who's the best guy that you were around in the car store this week?
Caden Honeycutt's a dog.
How about the modified?
I think Craig Lutz, Luke Baldwin does a great job.
Yeah. Keep an eye on those guys then.
Some of the guys that are really fast are like missing one feather on their dart, well, watch out. Yeah, whoa. Who's another guy that does pretty good? A lot of guys I don't even know. Like those things come from Timbuktu to come out there and race. But it was cool. And there's a lot of fans out in the grandstands for the modified race as well. Going to support Wilkesboro.
Let's talk about, let's get into this Cup race because, man, we have just talked about short tracks and repaving Wilkesboro and all of this, and it all came to a head this weekend, and it was great. I was pumped even watching the Open. So I'm on 38 now. 38 I think he lost power steering early in it. Zane ran most of the race without power steering. Dog. I really enjoy talking to Zane and being around Zane.
Was he going to be too tired to beat Tyrone's ass at the
Was
end?
Ty wanting to kick his ass?
So that's what he said.
Did you see that Zane retweeted back at him?
He said, "You ain't kicking
You ain't
nobody's
beating
ass."
nobody's ass.
That's how things are fight anymore on subtweeting on Twitter.
Zane is
You ain't
very
fighting
much,
nobody's ass.
Zane is very much California kid. Like, you ain't doing nothing, bitch. Like, that's him. That's Zane, right? He's just like cool, calm, monotone.
Ty Dillon's turned into like a mini Mike Dillon, bro.
He's turned into his grandfather.
Yeah.
Turned into Richard Childress.
Every time I see Ty, I'm like, that's Mike Dillon.
Well, he's like
Mike Dillon Jr. Yeah, that's right.
Dude, but shout out to the 10-2. They've been punching above their weight. I didn't even know that they were mad at each other. At 10 and 30, I had no idea. I did hear that SVG and Todd were mad at each other too, or something like that.
He come out smiling. I love it too. Like Todd goes up to talk to him after the race, and SVG made it a point to like dap up all of his guys like around Todd. Like, I'll get to you in a second. Pow, 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 pow. Okay, now let's talk, Todd.
But what I was excited about, to the point, is we put tires on because we didn't at first, and we put 2 on, came back in, put 4 on, drove back through the field, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a good all-star race. And watching the all-star race and watching the progression of how the race went, tires, no tires, getting runs, figuring out how to pass each other, it was awesome.
The cars looked fast on TV. Like, rarely do you look at a cup race now that the perception of speed is they're like, oh, these guys are hammer down hauling ass. Especially with the harder tires we've seen. I was a little bit of a softer tire hater originally, but then in the All-Star race itself, we saw some degradation. And we saw some comers and goers. In the open, I was like, oh, man, this is a bit of a snoozer.
You saw people miss it, too, like missing it, getting sideways. Like, I think to your point, softer isn't always better because it makes them not easier to drive, but easier to drive.
Yep.
Carson
Hocevar wins the open.
Yep.
Had clean track all day, took 2 tires, was able to hold off, keep track position.
I think the 88 guys are kicking themselves in the butt right now.
Yep. Yeah.
But you're the leader, so you kind of got to just do what everything's going to win you the race.
Yep.
Looking at let's get into the videos we got here. Chastain.
Hang on. So this is later in the day.
Oh.
John Hunter Nemechek is advanced. That's a bit of a shot in the arm for that 42 team as well.
Absolutely.
Travis Mack, crew chief on that thing. They get that thing in the show. They drive there. They had an interesting strategy. Save it, like riding on their first set of tires, knowing that they were hoping to get the caution and put them back on, which is what they did. Because guys put scuffs on, right? They put 4 on to start, whatever caution that was 50 to go. Then they took and put their cold scuffs back on. Or was it their qualifying scuffs, I think?
So we had a set of stickers laying.
Yeah.
We came in, did right side stickers.
Yep.
Then once we lost track position, we came in, put right side scuffs with
from
left side
qualifying.
stickers. Yes.
So two lap tires.
Yes.
And sticker left.
So what did the 42 do?
That strategy.
They did the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So they did 2 to begin with.
No, they did 4 to begin. I don't know.
Okay. Anyway.
Whatever they did, it was right. Noah Gragson gets the fan vote 3rd year in a row.
People love him.
Congrats. Here we go. All-star race, ladies and gentlemen. Battle of the best for $1 million.
See, that's why I like this place. You kind of just run out of room. I see guys bouncing off the fence. Whoa!
Round of applause for Marcus Smith, Steve Swift, all the fellas that reinvigorated Wilkesboro, but also kept the same banking profile. In-car camera here, the one. Yeah, man, you come off the top with a considerable amount of bank, and guys are coming off the bottom, flat racetrack. There's a decent amount of progressive banking split there. Oh, man.
The Cup cars race better than the late model and the modifieds did too.
Well, late models fold up like a Coke can as soon as you touch
No. But just the racing, like off of 4, you couldn't. If you got too high in the late model, you couldn't do anything off of 4. You just get tight. But the Cup cars, you kind of get up. They would progress all around the racetrack. You could use the concrete to help turn your car and de-wedge it if you wanted to. In 3 and 4, 1 and 2, you saw everybody spread out, and it made for a hell of a race.
Yeah, it worked its way up to the very top, and when you're up there, Kevin Harvick talked about it in the broadcast. You are trying to push those marbles, that dust of all the stuff that just collects to the top. You're working that out.
And you
Every
saw
lap.
that stuff come into play in the truck race, which we'll get to later.
Yep.
But that's exactly Corey Heim got over the cushion.
And the cushion isn't what you would think at a dirt track, right? It's like just junk. It's speedy dry, it's sand, it's rubber marbles, and you're working that up about a half tire width every lap until you go a full tire. If you get the full tire traction into the sand schmutz, if you will,
that's when
you
Harry
end up like
Hyde-
Brad Keselowski.
Harry Hyde goes, "You're too high, stay in the groove."
Should have said that to Brad.
Mm.
He get dominant race car in the open, start the race, get buried in traffic. He put right side tires on the start.
Man, it's
And
been
you
a
get
tough start
third,
for-
fourth. Ooh, sideways, up. Oh, big wreck.
Just 3 mile an hour too fast, right?
Probably, right, but also just a tire with too high.
Too high.
And we saw just a 5 steady. Where did he end up? Where did 5 end up? Anybody know?
But he hits the wall, and the promoters.
Oh, okay. The 5 did? The 5 crashed?
Well, he got the wall here, and then Benetton put him down. Right. Ooh.
It's been a tough week or two for Kyle Larson,
It has
especially.
been.
Couple chunks. Oh, man, 5 car in the fence. This is the lap before the promoter's caution.
Yeah, so Mikey's up there waving to the crowd. You might be able to see him in his leather
Oh,
jacket. There it is.
Didn't he drop the flag or something?
He dropped it on purpose.
Oh, okay.
There's no way.
Yeah,
you
for
can't think-
sure.
I thought that it was funny. Some people hated it. I thought that it was perfectly
It's
fine.
an all-star race, man. Also,
Well, think about the fans that are standing right there. Right, he's signing autographs, and then he walks up there, and
drops the flag.
like I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it.
Let it be.
And it's a guy that's won the All-Star race. Like, I thought it was a cool way the fans were excited about it.
How can we
Some people thought it was corny.
and maybe like I'm a little bit jaded by the sport overall, but it's like when I was growing up watching the All-Star race, all the cars had unique schemes for that race, and there was such a different buzz at Charlotte under the lights and
Well,
like
because it was the first. It's just like anything. It was the first of its kind like that. Now a lot of stuff is like that every week, and we have just made, since it was good, we've made everything like that.
Yeah.
So now what makes it different? Well, it's at Wilkesboro. That's an intimate setting. You know, it's
the
smaller.
venue is perfect.
Venue's perfect, but like, I don't know. Like, there's right away. Instead of just being like, man, this was great. Needs a points race. Needs a points race. Needs a
Yeah.
points race. Which I would agree that it could be a points race, and you could take this All-Star race to Bowman Gray if you wanted to, or you could rotate it, right? But I don't know. Like, I would like to see it be a points race, but I just don't care if it's a points race or just a regular race. It doesn't make a difference to me if it's a points race or the All-Star race. It's still a race.
There's so many different partners with there's broadcasts, right? There's NASCAR, there's the teams, there's the OEMs, there's the engine builders. They all have a say. Track owners that all have a say in how this goes. I wish that the All-Star race would consider just unique changes. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's more power. Maybe it's a different downforce, something to do a one-off. Let's just try it and see what happens. Doing the same thing as a short track package, I think it's a great opportunity to turn the knobs here and there and see what might fire it up.
I wouldn't change anything about last night. I wouldn't change anything except maybe make, like, as
But
a
how
picker
can
guy,
we-
so like mine, I always loved Charlotte. I love the mandatory 4-tire stop at the end. But if you go back to the best All-Star race was probably the one where Dale Jr. won. We come here to take all the money.
All the money.
Right? And he had a different strategy. So that last caution, it gave the parity that we needed to stay out, 2 tires, 4 tires. And we just saw it come at the end to fruition. It was guy leading on no tires, guy in second on 2 tires, guy in third on 4 tires. Right? So that your whole team had to be part of it.
Yep.
And I like
out of the weeds of that, though. How can we make the All-Star race stand out differently than it's just another week? Or do you?
You do. We did. We made it stand out because at Wilkesboro. Now we're 3 years in, and it's stale. It has to change. But Yeah, there you go. Danny says put underglow on the car. Smart ass. Hey, that worked for one. Yeah. But I don't know. Like the other part to it, and I've heard a lot of people saying this needs a. First off, it did stand out to me, right? I thought it was great. I wouldn't have changed anything about last night. But you have to just keep changing stuff because everybody, once it happens once,
everybody figures it out.
Everybody's like, yep.
So good.
Now everything's got to be like that. Now you got to move the bar. You got to constantly raise the bar. But to the point of points racing, which is probably Higgy's question of the week. I haven't even looked at it yet. There it is. Does North Wilkesboro need a points race? I knew it. Everybody would race different if this was a points race.
Yeah.
They would race each other way different. So it wouldn't look the same. So if you say, hey, we need a points race, and these guys aren't plugging each other in the fence, doing all this stuff that they need to do to try to win $1 million,
you get a one caution race with stages.
This is a boring race.
Right.
So, like, be careful what you wish for and just enjoy what you saw. Don't always be trying to turn the knobs, guys.
Yeah.
Let's just be happy and go to Charlotte and wait for another great race this week.
Yeah. I think there are some things, and I don't have any solutions, right? Everybody these days just points out problems and doesn't offer solutions, so I probably shouldn't point out the problem. But I wish that the All-Star race had a different, venue aside, a little bit different on-track feel. I don't know what that is. I liked the option tire, but when the 22 runs the same set all race, right, then that kind of throws
just
that
didn't pan out, but maybe that's something we go back to. I thought it was great. Everything about it. There's nothing I want to change. I do love this battle for the lead, too.
Great, dude.
Moist got it pulled up.
This was a great battle for the lead. 11 to go.
If you've ever played, I don't know, foosball, maybe.
Anything, dude.
Rock, paper, scissors. If you ever beat Joey Logano in anything,
he's pissed.
He's pissed off, especially for $1 million with 10 to go.
There's nobody more competitive than Joey Logano.
No, so everybody was like, I saw some people that were Twitter and
I can't believe the 20. Oh, I thought he almost stayed out there.
But they were like, man, I'm loving this battle.
About 10 to go right here.
I was wondering how he's going to do it because Joey's the best at defending, by far the best. And I listened to Coleman Presley, his spotter. God, he paints such a good picture of where to go, where to move, and like he just got the angle here and drove him up. Which everybody's like, Joey in his post race, he said, "Man, I'm pissed at Marcus Smith," which he wasn't actually mad. He just said, like, at the situation didn't work out for me because that caution came out. If the caution doesn't come out, I win the race, right? But people took it like, oh, Joey mad at, Marcus. He wasn't. He said it jokingly. And he also said, hey, if I got back to Chris Bell, I was going to turn him for the way he passed me.
Yep.
Everybody's like, Joey races like that. Yeah, I get it.
That's why Joey's three-time champ.
They're just not a competitor. They don't understand. When someone runs into your door in the heat of the moment with 10 to go and $1 million, if you get back to him, you're lick the stamp, bro. You're getting shipped.
Absolutely.
And same thing if he would have done the same move to Chris Bell. Chris Bell would have done the same thing.
Yep.
But Joey is the fiercest competitor in the field, I would say, bar none.
That's why a lot of people have a negative opinion of it because they can't understand the switch that he flips. And he probably flips the most distinct switch from being out of the car, Joey, I'm putting my lid on, plugging the glasses in, ladies and gentlemen, we're going for it.
But that's the first All-Star race I probably watched in a decade from the couch and listening to it, listening to the NASCAR app, listening to Coleman the last couple laps, kind of paint the picture of what was going on. Damn, it was good, and I was excited about our sport and where we're heading.
Does the All-Star race still need to pay $1 million? I think with inflation anymore relative to like when Dale Jr. won it, probably like $300,000.
What?
Or is it an arbitrary number?
I mean, who cares?
I care.
I mean, okay, so what, the drivers are bitching that needs to pay more?
I don't know. I haven't heard that. I'm just asking.
I just can't believe that the drivers need, like, from what I picked up, the drivers need
more money.
Need more money.
Yeah.
But, like, hey, you need to pay us more. But, like, we had to make a driver ambassador program to get you lazy to even do anything. So, like, I don't know. Hey. I don't know. I don't feel bad for drivers at all, ever. I'm a bad one to ask.
Helicopter fuel's not getting any cheaper.
I hear you.
Hey. So when these cats roll in there on the chopper, They need to make more than $1 million.
Make more than $1 million.
Yeah.
Good point.
Property taxes on those lake houses, buddy's not going yet any cheaper.
Boats and woes next.
Mm-hmm. Hey everybody, did you know that May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month? Let's take a pit stop to talk about the importance of understanding the risks of developing non-melanoma skin cancers. Most people are familiar with melanoma, but non-melanoma skin cancers like basal cell carcinoma and cutaneous squamous cell carcinoma are actually much more common. In fact, they are some of the most common types of cancer in the United States. While they are often caught early, if left undetected, these cancers can spread or advance and become difficult to treat. Our sponsor, Regeneron, is revving up awareness about advanced non-melanoma skin cancers this race season with its Let's Get Real About Skin Cancer program to drive home the importance of regular skin checks. Buckle up and visit letsgetrealaboutskincancer.com to learn more and to take the pledge to see a dermatologist for an annual skin check today. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's time for some Pit Road Boats and Woes.
Couple videos to go through here.
Yeah. Pit crew competition.
Oh, pit crew. Let's just go right to the pit competition.
We're out.
Oh, buddy.
A lot of positive feedback this week on the pit crew segment we did last week. Surprising winner though for the All-Star.
It was a surprising winner. But we said that last week. It's anybody's game, and we saw a lot of eggs laid. There was a lot of bad stops.
There was.
Ours 38, we did just fine. We did okay. I had a little bit of an issue on the left front where got engaged and it kicked me back off of it. Cost us about 4/10. That was the only hiccup. I was the only hiccup on that. With a really young group of guys, that was really good to see. This stop here, the 34, we got keyed up. This isn't the pit crew challenge. This is
under green.
This is in the NASCAR Open. That's Danny Owaski. I practice with Danny every week. So what happened there is the 34 pitted under green out of sequence. They were kind of not ready for it. Danny thought they were doing 4 tires.
Clearly.
He was kind of confused, so he took it a little easy when Landon dropped the jack, knowing they were doing 2. So that was one of the reason he thought they were doing 4 was because they pitted under green. They weren't really sure what happened. I think they got out to the car a little late. It was just...
Why did he pit?
I don't know. He must have thought he had a tire going down or something. So that was because there was also a close call in the heat races with old hard ass himself, Blake Houston, on the 20 car. And Jamie Little interviewed him. Like, what happened there? He's like, I think Darrell was trying to kill me. My wife's going to be mad.
Doing rights?
Doing right side tires, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being a front changer, do you just inherently know as soon as they drop, you got to
do you remember
move it and groove it?
Do you remember New Hampshire? We dropped too early, and I was trying to run next to the car. Blaney had left. You just have to talk to your jackman, because if they have the slightest bobble, or you have the slightest bobble, and you're still tightening the wheel and they drop it and you're on the ground, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
The driver also has to know.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
let your guy get across.
Guy's on the wrong side. But once you're past the emblem, dude, it's just big steps. You run, you're not going to get hit. Sometimes it looks closer than it actually is.
Dumb question. Could the front changer not just stand up and kind of like hold your hose up and let the car drive underneath of it?
That's illegal.
Is it?
Yeah.
So you can't do that?
Yeah.
What also
the
you can't do?
Equipment has to be returned to the other side.
Okay. But you can't throw it either.
But if that hose caught the spoiler, you'd be going for a ride because it's connected to your hip.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Blaney ran over that one in New Hampshire. I was like, ow! Oh, okay, didn't grab I thought I was going to grab the diffuser. I'm like, oh, this is going to suck.
You'd have went for a little ride on that thing.
I'm going to meet asphalt hard here quickly.
What also you can't do is you can't hit the choose cone.
What happened here?
Watch.
Oh, he didn't see it.
I mean, it is just worn out over races and races. And by a driver's
you literally
point of view,
can't see it
you
from
literally
his view.
can't see it.
Oh, no.
And you really can't even. So
got his
after the
cone.
race, he grabbed a cone. I wish he'd have thrown it on the racetrack.
He should have just put it on the spot of the track.
He didn't. He just put it on
know.
the wall. He should have just tossed it on there like Bobby Knight throwing a chair onto
This
the court.
is the second time where Priest has been like leading a race or in control of a race right there in the front.
Talking about Martinsville the first time?
Martinsville, like it's just those little ticky-tack things that got it's the second time. That one speeding penalty out of pit stall 1.
So, as a driver, you're not really spotting the cone per se. There's 2 little orange triangles that are zip tied to the outside fence, so that way you know that at that point after the start-finish line, you have to be clear below or clear high. Unfortunate. Ryan also acknowledged, hey, a rule's a rule.
Yeah.
But they did get the paint out and repaint that thing in between the All-Star Open and the All-Star Race.
Sucks that he had to be the one that
to find that out, because he drove to the front. He was in a great spot. He was going to definitely transfer.
Between the 6-car wreck and the 60 to 7, it's just RFK's right there. You just can't get stuff to go their way.
Nope.
Bummer.
Another woe. Michael Waltrip, 2-time Daytona 500 champ, waves the yellow flag.
I liked all of this. People didn't like it. People thought it was corny, like we said. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I liked it. I even liked that he dropped the flag. He did it on purpose for sure. Which is good.
He actually played it off pretty good, like he didn't mean to.
Kayfabe.
Got to get some kayfabe going on. The fireworks and everything, is that like – I was asleep actually when it was going on.
I thought it was great. I
didn't know they shot fireworks.
But
here it is.
I'll tell you this. I was watching the race, enjoying it, and then they did pit stops, and it was like 100 laps to go. And crew was like, Dad, you want to go upstairs with me and watch Up? And it was like one of those father-son moments was like, yes, I have to do this. Let's do it. So we watched the beginning of Up. You ever seen that movie?
No.
It's sad, bro.
Is it?
The beginning of it's sad, bro. And I was like, oh, I got to get out of here. So we got through that, and I was like, all right, buddy, I'm going to go back down and watch the end of the race. And right when I got down, there was like 5 laps before they threw the caution. And I was like, all right, business about to pick up.
I like it. More fireworks, pyrotechnics, and cautions whenever you want them. I'm all for some.
So the caution comes out. I thought it was super cool, too, just watching as a fan. Like when the caution came out.
Was there like a button up in the tower like the Marcus had it, and it was like the easy button, like
I'm sure they just
pyro.
They had it
put
like
it out.
they probably he had an earplug in like we do, and they were like, all right, 3, 2, 1, and then the pyro and everything, and it was cool. But watching the decision of like, okay, I always loved like 4-tire stop, let's go, to see who decided on pit road would tend to go at Charlotte. But I loved like who's gonna stay out, who's not. And the 2 Penske cars, when they both dove and they pulled off together, it was just really cool looking. And then trying to do the math of like who stayed out, how's the 20 cars restart going to be? Is he going to get by these guys? Thought they did a good job painting the picture.
Did he put 4
on the broadcast? The 20?
Yep.
You're going to see right here.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and play it.
As for the 20 car, Christopher Bell, the call was Batman. They made the decision.
Batman was the call. 2 tires, boys.
Whoa!
Oh!
Pow! 2 tires. Batman and Robin comes in at the end. The Joker comes in and smashes in.
Yeah.
Ooh, the 4 car. That's the tough part. Short tracks when you're doing rights. There's people on other strategies.
Oh, decent shot.
It was a decent shot. So that's what I thought was interesting. Dang it.
Yeah.
Now we can't pit our car.
Just a cluster.
Yeah.
All
right, just get the tires.
Just everybody stop. Oh, a lot of guys, 2 tires coming out. A lot of guys trying to find their box. Pandemonium on pit road, if you will. John Hunter's like, get out of the way. Okay. Now we shall change tires. All right, boys, put 4 on it. We're over.
The worst is when that happens, because then you guys get, like, drivers get off sequence, and then you'll pull in. Like, John Hunter, I don't know if he did it. And then he'll, like, pull in, and then he'll go over the line. And you're like, oh, now we got to back up. It's just a complete cluster. You're like, all right, just get the tires on this thing and get out of here. I don't know. Oh, hey.
Who the dogs?
Dogs of the week. You'd be remiss if you don't give it to the 71. It's got to be the 71. They win the Pit Crew Challenge, $100,000. Like I said, a lot of eggs laid. Now, hurry up and down pit road. There's a lot of discussion about who actually had the fastest pit stop because they time it line the line.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. I went out there and they do pit road approach practice where you can hold the pit sign and your guys come down. I went out there and held the pit sign for Zane. The only guy that crossed the line and throttled up was Michael McDowell. Now, he did it way more aggressive in the Pit Crew Challenge practice than he did in the actual challenge, but he had a great He rolled great time in and out of the stall, and those guys had a great pit stop. Was it the fastest? Debatable, but it doesn't matter, right? Like everybody's gonna break it down by the hundredths, and when we have this conversation, you have to have it be some sort of line to line, whether it's the front of the pit box line to the back of the pit box line, one or the other. Because if you time it, every picker guy on pit road, if you give every one of them a stopwatch or a different way to time it, they're gonna be 100th off difference here or there, and it's inevitably gonna come down to 100th here or there. So you have to have a line and a line. I could see it being the back of the pit stop line in the front. Not getting too far in the weeds. What I'm going to say is that this 71 team is very young. And shout out to Hendrick Motorsports and their developmental program, because we've had a lot of talk about Spire. Your guys have been great. When you were on the 7 for the last couple of years, they just got moved up to the 5. And the 71, I don't think anybody had them circled except themselves. They were betting on themselves. So Dogs of the Week, let's start from the Jackman. Great mustache. You saw him on TV. Dax Hollifield. Pumped for those guys. Fueler, Brandon Chapman, Max Marsh, front changer. You know, the front changers are always the coolest. Tire carrier, Luke Bussell, and rear changer, Ty Bowick.
Dogs.
Man,
congrats.
Way to put yourselves on the map. Super stoked for you guys. And that's just a hell of an honor to be able to win that and to do it together. You could see a lot of those guys, man, this is like their 12th race they've ever done. They're pretty new. This year's their first year, a bunch of them. Some of them, I'll be honest, man, I haven't ever even seen them. And I was stoked for them and just stoked to see how excited they were. And listen, everybody knows who they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs of the Week.
Great
job, boys.
Whew. Congrats. We're going to go from the dogs on pit road to another dog. Prime week, ladies and gentlemen. Broadcasting, streaming the Coke 600 on Prime this week. We're going to talk to Thursday Night Football's own Ryan Fitzpatrick coming up right after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like we've been talking about, it is Prime week leading up to the Coke 600. So Prime said, hey, we need you to talk to somebody to give you a little bit of advice. First time on TV, coming from the field or the racetrack, behind the booth. None better than Prime co-host analyst Ryan Fitzpatrick joining Second Penny.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, boys. Nice to join. Nice to be here.
Well, you landed from Ireland, NFL football tour. You land, you fire up the camera right now and jump on and talk with us. Appreciate you doing that. What's going on over there?
So I went to Ireland. This is one of those things, like just being a part of Amazon now and the stretch that you have, the cool things that you're able to do. The piece of advice I give you, just say yes to everything, because there's a lot of stuff that comes with it. So I was over in Ireland. There's a game in Dublin this year for the NFL. And this was, just showing appreciation to fans and going to a couple different venues. We went to Belfast, Dublin, Limerick, and Cork, and just had like some 90-minute sessions with fans, talking and letting them ask questions. And part of it was, can we introduce these guys to the game and expand the reach of the NFL? But a lot of it was me blown away with how interested they were and how much football they've watched over the years. So cool trip for me. Got to bring my wife. We've got 7 kids, so we never, ever, ever get to go away, just the 2 of us. So that was pretty special too. And then I said, Liz, we got to wrap up this trip. I got to go on the Stacking Pennies podcast, baby.
Right.
Let's get home for this
That's
thing.
right. Had to get the first class seat, get the bird up in the air, and get home. 7 kids, man. I got 3, and I'm already like overwhelmed. We juggle them. It's the most thing. I would love to have 7. My wife would not. How do you do it?
So the way you make 7, you've already made 3, so you should be able to.
I feel like there's some similarities.
It's wild. But really, we always thought we'd have a big family. We thought, hey, 4 kids. I had 3 siblings. She had 3 siblings. We said, what's one more? And when you get to 6 and you're making that decision, do we go to 7? You no longer fit in a normal minivan if you go to 7. So that was the only time where we had to stop and think and be like, okay, do we want to be the not just weird, but now really weird family with the 12-passenger van driving around? And all of our kids' friends call it the kidnapper van now. But seven is a blessing, man. It's awesome. It's crazy. But even like when you're at 3, you're chasing them around. You're going nuts. And so we just added a few more. And then as they get older, they start driving too, and they become helpers in the house. So that part makes it a little bit easier these last few years for us.
What makes you stop at 7? My aunt and uncle have 10.
Hey, it's a great question.
Because he got the kidnapper van already. Fill it up.
We got the kidnapper van. Yeah, just some of it was personal circumstance and other things going on in our lives where it was like we had to put it off, but they're literally like every 2 years on the dot. Boom, 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 boom. And then we missed that window for 2 years for the 8th one and just decided to hang up the cleats,
Well, speaking of hanging the cleats up, that's a good segue because that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about, man. Hanging the cleats up, going to do TV. You mentioned about being the weird family, but I don't think you did anything normal, whether it's your playing career or now TV with the printed shirt, just the takes that you have. You legitimately were my favorite analyst watching TNF. So I want to try to kindle a little bit of that Fitz magic on the broadcast this weekend. What do you – because you were a bit of a journeyman. Nine teams play through a touchdown pass for a record 8 teams in the NFL. I think I've always found it interesting watching your career, man, because you have to get really good at culture, being a culture guy when you're moving that much, and also still getting the nod to lead that team as a quarterback. Same thing as a driver. I've been a bit of a journeyman myself. So before TV, what would it take to stay alive and stay at the top of the spear when it comes to being a pro football quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that for me was confidence in myself. And it's hard because you're beaten down. You have successes and then you have failures, and you just keep getting beaten down with some of these failures and having to move from team to team. But it's the belief in yourself that you can do it. And that was something, that for the most part of my career, it was stolen from me in 2016, had an awful year, didn't want to play anymore. And from that moment on, I think my personality really started to show because everything was icing on the cake from there on out, the last 5 or 6 years of my career. But always having, putting the work in, knowing who I was as a person and a player, and, always having that deep-rooted self-belief. I think that was what pushed me throughout my career. And then with that, going on to the analyst world, I didn't think I was ever going to do that. I wasn't planning on it. I didn't have some grand vision or timeline. It just kind of happened. I got so lucky that Amazon decided the year that I retired just so happened to be the year they were looking for people to be analysts for them. So then the other part of that is, okay, I'm an analyst. I'm with Tony Gonzalez, Hall of Famer. I'm with Richard Sherman, future Hall of Famer. I'm with Andrew Whitworth, future Hall of Famer. And me, journeyman quarterback. But I don't look at myself in that situation as lesser than. I think I have such a unique perspective that I can offer and that I could show. None of those guys were in 9 locker rooms. None of those guys led 9 teams. None of those guys have the relationships and connections I do because of all the places I was. And so being able to leverage those relationships, being able to share my perspective from a different view than maybe a guy that's up here as a Hall of Famer. There's depth to our broadcast, and we also have a lot of fun. So I think having those different points of view, there's a place for guys, the Dale Earnhardt Juniors of the world for sure, and then there's a place for the other guys because it does add depth and perspective to the broadcast. A
little bit of a technical question because myself, I've been in the trenches for a decade. X's and O's into the data, trying to find the smallest margins for a little bit of speed on the racetrack, trying to make your team better, trying to make yourself better, trying to make your car go faster. Same thing with you. You spent 17 years in the trenches, X's and O's, on the depth chart, trying to figure out how you could go up or how you can beat the next team. How do you zoom out of that, right? Because a lot of fans probably do care about the X's and O's, but probably not in the depth of what you and I have been used to for the entirety of our careers. How do you then portray that to where it's not just noise, where it's actually applicable for somebody who's never played professional level?
Yeah, I think that's something that's gonna be a tough thing. You're gonna have to gauge. You're gonna have to find your audience and figure out what works and what doesn't. some of that technical stuff is great, but you're also going to find that like sometimes you don't have as much time to talk as you think. So it is a lot of like the bird's eye view stuff. I always try to keep in mind, I think, like thinking about my wife watching a game, or even like my mom before she passed, like watching a football game. What does she want to get out of it? My wife didn't watch football at all until we got to college, and she was forced to watch me, and then has seen a ton of NFL games. My mom kind of the same way, but it's like they get and understand the game, but they don't want to hear about a 3-4 and what the nose tackle's responsibility is and two gapping. And there's a time and a place for some of that stuff, but there's a lot of stuff where you can just pull back the curtain. If you pull back the curtain and let us in on things that are happening, and I wouldn't be afraid to state some of the obvious things either, because there's a lot of stuff that I'll be honest, like I don't watch a lot of racing, and so there's a lot of stuff that I'm really going to be into. Even just talking to Steve, like on the aircraft carrier, and some of the things he was telling me at a very basic level, it's awesome. And so I think starting with that mentality of we're pulling back the curtain, we've got some new viewers here, and we're going to let them see and know everything we do here. I think that's a good starting point. Then you'll find your sea legs, I guess, in terms of like how in depth you really need to get.
Yeah, that's great. That is great advice for sure. I wondered, we are a NASCAR podcast, right? So we got to know about any of your NASCAR experiences. Do you have a favorite driver? Any memories? Have you ever watched much racing? Because we know we're in the trenches with racing as well. We don't know much about football. We know you guys from TV, but I wondered if you had any experiences, any drivers, anybody you've met that stands out to you.
Dude, I don't really. My dad watched a ton growing up, so I've been to one race before, and it was in Phoenix. All I remember is the earplugs and having to put them in. That's legitimately it. But that, to me, like that's why I know, like if the big names, like growing up. Certainly Jeff Gordon was at the top of the list, but like my knowledge is not very in depth. And so that's why it's a cool thing about Amazon too, is now like the reach, anybody that has a Prime account is going to be able to tune in and be interested. And then that's your guys' job, is to inform the viewer and keep them there and get them excited about racing. So I'll be there. I'll let you know. I'm going to let you know if it's working or not. But I can't wait to get into this. We've had some people, from on our side of it, from the football side, are helping out, and they're buying like NASCAR for Dummies, and then there's others that are way into this that have been in it forever. So I think you're going to have such a wide range of viewership. That's going to be a lot of fun for you guys to be able to introduce some people to the sport.
Well, we need Ryan, we need to get you to the racetrack and get the earplugs out and put like an actual headset on and get you like into the deep water.
Hell yeah. I mean, see, I did on the aircraft carrier. I did that. I'm sure it was similar, like the things that we got, because it was so loud. But I'm in, baby. I would love to do that,
because it's legitimately like when you're sitting on a pit box, you're listening to the offensive coordinator and the head coach call plays. Right, and you're listening to the quarterbacks, the driver essentially of the team, relaying information, defensive schemes, and all that. Like you would be hooked, because I think, personally speaking, the two sports that have the biggest difference between at-track experience versus TV broadcast is NASCAR racing and hockey. Because if you've been to a hockey game, it's electric, right? You can watch it and you don't really know the players, but you go there, you're immersed in it. So I'm excited to maybe tighten that gap between the consumer's experience of a race and what a live sensation is. I'm sitting here looking at this ball though, and I don't want it to go remiss. It's a Buffalo Bill on it. So Ty Johnson, the running back there, second string behind Dalvin Cook, James Cook rather, gave me this when they were doing the warm-ups. I was there for the Sunday night game, 49ers, when it was just dumping snow. And you might have been there a couple weeks before or after, but you are like revered in Buffalo, right? Rightfully so. I mean, people roll the red carpet out, man. The Fitzmagic almost came to be in Buffalo. I also didn't understand the Buffalo way until I went. That's all those people care about.
Well, and blue cheese, not ranch.
Not ranch.
Clearly. That place is amazing. That place is amazing. But my connection there, and the reason how I'm gonna tie this all together is Stacking Pennies, name of the show, came from just a coin term that now the sports psychologist there, Dr. Desiree Festa, who's the sports psychologist for the Bills, I worked with her when she was down here in Charlotte. Get to the league, rookie, not what I ever intended to be. Like, I thought I was going to be the Jeff Gordon, the Tom Brady. Like, that's where I worked for. That's what I thought my trajectory was going to be. Get with a bit of a dysfunctional team, realize that it's not going how I want it to go, and lost sight of the things that I had control over. So we figured out 5 or 6 things every week that I had full control over to essentially get my brain kickstarted to just control what I can control. And those were the pennies. Those were the things that I was trying to do. Then you start adding pennies. So it's interesting, man, how it all relates, yourself included. When you're a third string, second string guy, there's still things that you can control. But there's a lot of things outside your control that inhibits or allows you to do what you wanted to do. So what were some of the pennies that you did early in your career and then followed the rest of your career?
Yeah, I love that. You control what you can control, right? And so for me, it was always, okay, what are my strengths? What am I good at? I can master this playbook. I can know this playbook better than anybody else. And one of my traits as I went on was teams looked at me and said, okay, we can have this guy come in and be our starter, even though he hasn't been in the system, because we know that, over the last 8 years of what we've seen, he can come in and have a command for this thing early. And I also always wanted to be reliable. I wanted to be the guy that showed up all the time that you knew you could count on. And those are two like really simple little things. But it's like, I tell my kids this all the time. My 2 oldest are boys, and now they're 18 and 16. And it's like, if somebody knows they can count on you, that goes such a long way. And always having that, knowing that I was going to be there and I was going to show up and I was going to be able to play through injury, and then you could depend and count on me every Sunday or every day of the week. Like that, those were things that were always right here on the top of my brain that I wanted to make sure that I got across every single day. And so I did not know that's why it was Stacking Pennies. I love that. Mine, I should change the name of my podcast to Stacking Children, because we just kept popping them out. But I think we're done now. So that's really cool, though. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for coming on. Before I let you go, I know you got a big day in front of you. We asked 3 questions to all of our guests. Most of these are obviously NASCAR related because that's all that we really know and love. The question generally is, if you had to drive one type of car and one racetrack for the rest of your life, what do you go with? I'm going to ask you this. Because before,
okay, good, because I don't know that
yeah,
answer.
You don't have to know. I'm gonna change it for you and tell me if this is like a dumb question, then reframe it as you wish. Behind you, you mentioned that Amazon gave you a gift. It was a helmet. Can you grab it? Like, unless it's not.
Yeah. Let me grab it.
So Amazon gave you. I'll let you explain it because you did a good job explaining it. I don't want to speak on your behalf.
So this was for. Let me get this thing out of here.
Take the stand out.
So for my birthday a couple years ago, Amazon presented me with a gift, and it was
That's sick, dude.
My helmet, or a helmet with all 9 teams that I played for, all the decals on there, and then a visor with the Amazon logo on the front. And it was great because it was during our coverage. Right around Thanksgiving, which is when my birthday is. My whole family was there and came on set with me and presented me with this. And you get to the point as you get older where it's like, what do you want? What kind of gifts do you want? I don't care. If I want to get something, I buy it. And that was just something that was so thoughtful and cool. And so I love that. But that's probably not sanctioned to wear on a racetrack, huh?
We can make some exceptions.
Depends on the track, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you this. That is context for my question. If you had to pick one of those teams or a different team on there completely and one game to play, like the feeling of running out the tunnel for the rest of your life, what do you do?
Boys, this is an interesting question because what comes to mind right away is Buffalo. Now, the interesting part is this is the last year that they have in their current stadium. So it's going to be a different stadium next year. But just that the intimacy in that stadium, the college vibe, what you had said of the fans there, and I don't know if you got a chance to tailgate or not, but just
I went to the Hammer
they
lot.
You went to the Hammer lot, of course. The bowling ball shot. You see the ketchup and mustard and the cooking.
I saw that
cooking
guy.
bacon on the.
I saw that guy.
I mean,
there's so many people in there you could hardly move. It was unreal experience.
We were eating pizzas out of a filing cabinet, all of that stuff. But that place is just different. It is, and it's not just the Bills. It's just the way that usually if you're born in Buffalo, you stay there. There's such a family aspect to it. Special place, though. So I would definitely run out of the stadium in Buffalo if I had to pick one experience, that I had to do for every day for the rest of my life.
That's cool. And also, too, one added thing about Buffalo, it was dumping snow. And usually, like normal human beings, as it gets colder and the elements become worse, you just like inherently like zip your coat up more and just bitch about everything that is going wrong or that it's not 75 and sunny. That's the opposite up there. They unzip
They thrive
their
on it,
jackets.
baby.
I've seen you do it as well. Pull your shirt off, and the colder and the more snow and the worse the elements are, the louder they get and the more rowdy they get. It's absurd to me.
Yeah, it's a source of pride, and some of it might be the alcohol consumed as well. But yeah, it's a huge source of pride there. The crummier the weather, the better they are. And right now they've got the perfect quarterback for that too. I mean, Josh Allen was made to play in the elements, so he's so much fun to watch.
Shout out Josh and Sean McDermott. He's a cool guy too, big NASCAR fan as well. Question number 2: what is your most embarrassing moment on the field?
Most embarrassing moment on the field, gosh. Well, guys, I did throw a lot of interceptions in my career, so trying to think of something that's not just a normal answer like an interception. Hey, let me go with I'll tell one of my friends' most embarrassing moments. How about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I love doing that and just pointing out. So Chris Godwin, unbelievable receiver, was drafted in Tampa Bay. Great dude, and I've said this for a long time. The most impressive rookie that I've ever seen. Came in right away, picked up the playbook. You talk about setting a standard of excellence every single day. That's who he was from the time he stepped into that facility, and still to this day, that's what he does. His first career reception, he was a little sick that day, and he may have squirted out the back of his pants. His first career reception, there's a picture of him with just a little stain.
Just so you
on
know,
the back
Corey
of the
pooped his
white
pants at
shorts.
Daytona 500 this year.
After the
Live,
race.
real life.
I mean, we've all got stories, right? We've all got incidences. So it's
Thanks
just
for pointing that out.
You said it on the
we have a thing in our house. Days since the last accident, like from Monsters Inc. and factories and whatever, but it relates to that. And just say I'm not on the leaderboard right now, which is awesome.
Hey,
Let's go.
that's a win these days. Can't trust it. You can't trust it these days, especially with 7 kids, man. You never know what's going to come out. Last question, and you'll appreciate this. You'd be surprised. A lot of people that we have on this show are young drivers coming up in the ranks under the age of about 23, and they have never seen Men in Black. And the reference is, the memory zapper pen. So if I had that memory zapper pen and I clicked it, and you only got to keep one football memory, what do you keep?
Ooh. That is a great question. I have a lot of good ones. I would say the memory that I would keep, and this plays off of the Bills and the fandom there with the Mafia, in 2011, early in the season, we beat the Patriots, the mighty Patriots, and there had been a drought where they had won
40.
Bills fans will be mad. I don't remember the actual number, but 14, 15, 18 games in a row, whatever it was. And we won that game at the very end with the last second field goal from Ryan Lindell. And the feeling in that stadium, I'm not sure I've ever felt again in my life. And so that's the one memory in my NFL career that I would want to have forever.
That's cool. I'm sure we can find some film of that and plug it in. But Ryan, I appreciate your time so much, but I'm really excited to represent Prime this weekend on Amazon or on Prime. I hope you watch.
Yeah, you gotta learn the lingo too. On Prime Video. Is it Amazon? I'm sure
not
you're
Amazon,
gonna get
it's Prime.
lectured
NASCAR
after
on
this,
Prime.
and not. Yeah, it's Prime, baby. There you go.
Prime time this Sunday night. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on, chopping it up with us a little bit. You're welcome back anytime on Sag and Pennies. Hopefully I'll see you at the racetrack here soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, boys.
Have a good day. That was some great stuff out of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Appreciate him coming on. If you want to hear that full episode, we talked a lot of great things, talk football, talk race, and everything in between. Go on NASCAR's YouTube page for that entire interview. So a lot of good stuff on that. Time for some Penny for your thoughts.
Let's go. First one. Oh, it's from my mom. Do you think what happened? Yeah, Plunkett Kravanek. That's my mom.
Yeah.
Do you think what happened to Priest was fair? Yes. I mean, the circumstances were bad. It sucks that it wasn't painted, but a rule's a rule.
And it's your job as a driver to know where the juice cone's at and not to hit it.
That's it. Yeah.
It's fair. The outcome sucked.
Hey, love you, Mom. Thanks for writing a question.
Thanks for sending that in, Patty.
Passing Clouds. Gonna run any more mods? Is the question.
Maybe. They're fun to drive, man. They're really fun to drive. Just gotta look at the schedule, see if it all lines up.
I got one too.
I wouldn't mind being. I wouldn't mind going back to Wilkesboro. Surely the race can't be as bad as it was this time.
Do they race there again?
Later in the fall, in October.
Oh.
So I might do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to. We'll see. No plans at the moment.
Alex W33. Zero talk about fuel mileage the entire broadcast. Killer race. Should stage racing die? No. If you don't like fuel mileage talk, you want stage racing to stay around.
For sure. Because these cars are reliable. The drivers are professionals, so rarely do they crash on their own, even though they are driving the snot out of them on the verge of wrecking. The drivers generally don't wreck, so if you don't have stage brakes to re-rack it for restarts, that's when you get guys pushing the envelope, aggression level turned up. That's when you get wrecks, and that's what people want to go buy a ticket and go see.
The little Susie Q asks,
Newbie here.
I'm newbie here. What does stacking them deep, selling them cheap mean?
Yeah.
So hype, but I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'll tell you where that came from is Johnny Love.
Really?
Yeah.
Johnny Love used to be the salesman for the Joy Seating right here.
And he also he was a used car dealer in downtown Kannapolis.
Oh,
forever,
yeah, he was.
Right, and he was just he is and forever will be a used car salesman. And he just would always say, he'd have these like sayings. He would say if a car had new tires on it or newer tires that was on the lot, he goes, that thing's knee deep in rubber.
Oh boy.
So he said he would always say is like whether it's seats or cars, we're stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
And Jonathan Merriman just got you with a microphone.
No, actually that was from the original. Like when this was COVID when we first started doing this podcast. Chuck Bush, shout out Chuck, wanted to do like this opening deal. So he just gave me like 15 one-liners to voice memo, and then he was going to chop them up, put it in the show. And I go into the basement because I shot him like 15 different renditions, and the audio quality on my phone was so bad.
The basement at the NASCAR building.
No, the basement of my townhouse back in the day.
Oh gosh, you're in here. Oh boy.
And I put because like everything was like, nope, he's got echo. Nope, this is bad. Nope. He kept sending it back, so I had to sit in my basement with a blanket over me with my phone, and I just whipped that one out. That wasn't even on the sheet, and I just channeled some Johnny Love, stacking them deep, selling them cheap, and then talking about that tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory. We've had some fans that have that emblazoned on their body. In the tattoo form. That's me talking about a Martinsville dog. So I'm glad people think highly enough to put that on their body forever. Don't put stacking them deep, selling them cheap on your body. But that's where that comes from. Now you know.
That might be my next tattoo.
Penny Staggers of the Week. Got one?
Man, I had a lot of people in Ryan Flores 79 shirts yesterday. So
Yep.
shout out to everybody at Bowman Gray, but also at Wilkesboro yesterday. Got some new shirts coming out here before long. So
The gate guard at North Wilkesboro says, "Hey man, love listening to the show."
I had a lot of people yelling, Pennies,
Hey.
Flores, what are you
Cool.
doing?
Yep. I didn't get the guy's name, but he was wearing a blue shirt.
Love
my age, every day, in and out of the gate. There he was, man of the fort.
Couple shout outs. Max Reeves wins the ARCA race.
Cookout fella, 3 for 3 in the ARCA series.
Like we talked about, Car Store, Caden Honeycutt and Landon Lewis split the wins there. Craig Lutz wins the modified. Burt Myers, talked to him for a while yesterday, gets his 100th win.
He clarified that though. He goes, "Man, it's 99 modified wins because I ran one sportsman race in my entire life and won it. That's why I'm 100." So 99 modified wins. I believe Tim Brown, he has 102.
Something like that. 100th career. Yes, that's what it says. 100th career win at Bowman Gray Stadium.
So he is. I mean, it's just him and Tim Brown. It's like Richard Petty and David Pearson up there at the stadium.
Yeah, and then Kyle Larson qualifies 21st. Excited to see him in the 500. And Tony Stewart wins another Top Fuel dragster race at the Route 66 Nationals.
Rookie Robert Schwartzman, rookie driver, rookie team, and was Prima on the pole for the Indy 500. Big deal. Obviously, we're going to be tuning in to Larson's journey. He has chunked a couple of them. They need to get that thing settled down, get them comfortable in that unit. We've seen a lot of shunts. Scotty Mack as well had a big shunt in his Fast 12 practice session.
Big shunt.
The
in-car videos of them.
Dude.
Oh.
Those things are legitimate. When you go to the slot track, right, and you just hold your finger on the trigger down too much, and those things just get off the track and smash into the fence and fall off the racetrack. That's what those Indy cars look like.
So you said that in the group chat. That was a great analogy.
Because there's no really inclination. You see a couple of them tank slap it, then they're up in the weeds and it's over for them. But the ones that are on a rail on a knife edge and it's like, pow.
Couple more shout outs. Andy and Rich are here with us. They are firemen. They travel with the series. They come to a lot of modified races.
Give us a couple coins and a couple patches for the hero wall.
Love
as well.
That. So always cool to have fellow racers in the building. There's a lot of people that make this ship go, the whole racing realm. And shout out to Gavin Grubb. Gavin, what's the name of your podcast? The B Main Podcast. Go see our man Gavin on the B Main Podcast. He's here shadowing us today. Gavin's been a longtime friend, and
he was on the broadcast yesterday, standing next to Joe. He said, "Hey man, give him a last pat. Tell him good job. Get on up there, big guy."
Oh yeah,
he said he had to stand in for Brittany.
Yeah.
So shout out Gavin. In the trenches out there with the dogs. Tweet us your questions. Hashtag Penny for your thoughts.
Or just say something mean to Corey. Leave me out of it. Seems to
y'all
be.
Can bring it. Y'all can bring it.
He's feeling feisty.
I saw a clip of Brooks Koepka walking up from. I don't think he had a good day. It was the U.S. Open this weekend, and he's walking up after 18, and collecting his thoughts. I'm sure thinking about all the bad shots he hit all day, and some fan chips at him. That's what guaranteed money, because he took guaranteed money to go to Live Tour. Mm-hmm. That's what guaranteed money does, Brooks. And it was one of those, he was like, "Oh, you want to come down here and say it?" And the guy's, "Yeah."
That was like that one.
Everybody, the loudest cracks come from the highest freaking nosebleed seats.
The best was the one with LeBron, when that person was like, "LeBron, how's it feel to be the little ass bitch?" And he stopped, and they were like, "Oh, I wasn't ready for him to stop. Yeah. Oh no, he sees me. Oh, he heard me say that."
Oh yeah,
you get it a lot.
I love it. Keep firing it over. What else we got? That's it. Before I go too hard
Coke
on
600. You see Corey on TV this weekend, like we talked about all show. It's going to be a great weekend. Come see us at Bowman Gray Saturday night if you're in town for the Coke 600. If not, you can watch on Flow. Awesome weekend of racing, man. May is the best month. You're going to have your fill.
This
Monaco,
Sunday's the best day in motorsports.
Coke 600.
Have coffee with F1 in Monaco. Have your lunch. Watch Kyle Larson Indy 500.
And a cold beer with the 600.
Mm-hmm. Celebrate Memorial Day. On Prime. Make sure you go download it today, ladies and gentlemen. Download it on your phone. Action Sunday afternoon. Coke 600 on Prime. This is Stacking Pennies. Corey LaJoy alongside Ryan Flores. Y'all have a great week. Bye.